Hello, hello. Welcome to another live show here on YouTube. Nice to have you here watching along. If you have any questions over the next 30 minutes or so, then do put them in the chat on YouTube. And if you're watching this afterwards, then you can always leave a comment under the video, or even better, join us over on Discord. You'll find a link to that below all of the videos on this channel. And Discord is a good place to jump in, say hello, share what you're working on, your setup, your all sorts of stuff. We have lots of channels on there for chit-chatting about fun stuff in the AV production world. If you can hear and see me just fine, just let me know in the chat so that I can be confident that all is working as expected. Oh, I still have some music on. Okay, I'll take that down. There we go. Now you should be able to hear me nice and clear. Good. It's going to be hard to edit that out later, so we'll just have to leave that in there. But yeah, at least you can hear the music, and now hopefully you can just hear me as I come to you live. I should really put on some program headphones going into the show, but it's nice to not wear any at all if I don't need them. Okay, cool. We're off. I don't have much planned on the agenda today, which is just fine. So I'm going to rely on your questions to come in and fill the next 30 minutes. And if we run out of time, then we can pick up some more questions in the members only post show. We do that after all of these. Actually, we do it before and after all of these live shows. So you can get a link to that if you become a member of the channel. In the community tab on YouTube, there's a link to the Zoom call, which we have before and after the show. And there's a few people hanging out before, and there will be a few more hanging out afterwards. And we'll do all that fun stuff there. Okay, a question. Actually, just a thanks. Let's Celebrate TV. Good to have you upgrade your membership before the show kicked off. Thanks for that. And we were just chatting about that in the pre-show, which is one of the benefits of being a member of the channel. All right, IT Never Gets Old wants to know, what audio mixer are you using, and is it controllable via Companion? The one that I'm using for all of these live streams is the Behringer Flow 8, and I have it on the desk here. And if you're a long-time watcher of this channel, you'll know that once before I tried to show off which one I was using, and I pulled out the cord and you couldn't hear anything I was saying. So instead, I'll head over to the website. So this is the one I am using. Yes, there we go. You can see that. Excellent. The Flow 8, and it's a little small desktop device with support really for 2 microphones. And it has USB as well, so you can send all the channels into and out of the computer. In my case, that's what I'm doing, going in and out of Zoom. And I can also take audio out of vMix on my computer as well, which is what you were listening to that music through earlier. It's controlled via the top surface here, as you can see in the photo. And the only downside for this that I've found is that it's actually not controllable via Companion, because it doesn't have a network port on it at all. I'm sliding through all the photos here. So it only has USB control or Bluetooth via a iOS and possibly Android application as well. So you can't do anything with it over Companion, unfortunately. But for my case, it doesn't really matter that much. I can just reach out and remove all the faders here. And the other downside of this one is it doesn't have motorized faders, which means that I can't control it through anything else. So if it had Companion support, then it would get a little bit confusing about what you were controlling and where. So those are the 2 downsides on this one. But the upsides, as Eric here is saying, it does have real faders, which is nice. So I can reach out. You can't really see this, but I can reach out and change the volume of the microphone I'm using. I also have the Zoom audio coming back from the call that I'm on, and I also have the music coming back on another separate return feed from the USB. So it is quite nice for a small setup like this. I could add another guest or host as well and bring audio in that way. And all of the Zoom calls that I do, whenever I bring a guest on this show, I use this same mixer as well to mix between the 2 of us. So I really like this little Flow 8. If it had Companion control, that would be quite nice too, so then I could press the buttons on my Stream Deck here and start the show and bring up the audio. I'm often like sort of two-handing here as I try to do all that at the same time. But it's not much. It's very manageable to do. So I managed nicely. Vic here says, can you talk a bit about the different ways you can build in graphics on an ATEM Mini? Or bring in graphics, sorry, on an ATEM Mini. That's a good question, actually. I guess for somebody who makes a graphics software, I never really talk much about graphics in general and how to use them on the ATEM Mini, so that's a very good question. I'm just connecting to my ATEM SDI Pro ISO, which is on the table here, very similar to the ATEM Mini in terms of the ATEM software control setup. So on my computer here, the most basic way to bring in graphics to an ATEM would be via the ATEM software control. And what's nice about this is you can drag and drop in a PNG, for example, and you get that nice transparency support via the PNG. So you could, for example, have an overlay like you're seeing right here, and export a file from Photoshop or something like that with transparency, drop it in here, show it through the ATEM Mini, and that works really nicely. From there, some other solutions for graphics would be to capture them via HDMI coming into the ATEM Mini. So there are many tools to do that for producing graphics, but of course H2R Graphics is one of the ways that I do that. And I have it running here as well, very conveniently. So in this case, I could open up an output for my graphics here. As you can see, I have your comment showing up, but it's going to get confusing, so I'll just hide that for now. And I have this green screen window, and then I could full screen that. Well, I could properly full screen that coming out of my Mac on the computer here into my ATEM, and then just key out anything that's not that is green there. So in your case, the question that you had, and in fact, I'll just show this one here since it's at the top. I can just key out all the green there and show H2R graphics. Yes, I actually meant specifically asking about H2R graphics. Okay, cool. So I'm glad I launched into this. So for this use case, I would use the green output. I'll just turn off my graphics for a second. I would key that out, and then I would show that on the ATEM. And you can do that through the upstream keyer in the ATEM Mini. The next level up, which is the way I do prefer to use graphics on the ATEM, would be with key and fill. But on an ATEM Mini, you need two inputs to do that properly. So it might not be so worth it on the ATEM Mini, but on the ATEM Mini Extreme, if you're heading down that direction, then you can use two inputs coming out of a computer like this Mac here, or a PC, of course, and then let the ATEM do a key fill, which often works out a lot nicer and a lot better end results than a chroma key style keying of graphics. And you're following up here, you do have an extreme, which is great. So what I tend to use is, let me see if I have it running here on the computer. I tend to use OBS for this purpose, and I will bring in my graphics. Right now I have GFX.live on here, but it's the same idea. So I could use H2R Graphics in this sense here, and then overlay it on top of black or nothing. And then using the built-in abilities of OBS, the deck link output, you can connect up a deck link either via PCIe or via Thunderbolt, and then output a really nice clean fill signal from that. Clean key fill signal from that. So what you get here, the benefits of that is a really nice key signal coming into your ATEM, and then the fill looks a lot better, and the key really does a good job of actually removing all of the black here. That's the way I would head you down, or path I would head you down. But it does take a little bit of extra bits and pieces, like running a piece of software like OBS or some sort of key fill generator like that, and then outputting that to your ATEM. I've done it in the past nicely, and I've always been happy with how that looks compared to doing like a chroma green keying within an ATEM, even though the key is pretty good. Ivor says here, how does it handle mix minus? I'm guessing you're talking about the Behringer from before. I actually don't know how it handles mix minus, because I tend not to send back the audio. Once or twice I have accidentally sent back Zoom audio into Zoom again. However, Zoom was doing a good enough job of eliminating that the person didn't notice at all that it was happening. What I do for the audio feed going back to Zoom is, oh yeah, so this is what I do. In Zoom, there's a setting whenever you connect up the Flow 8 to your PC or Mac, I guess. In Zoom, you have the option of selecting the USB output of the Flow 8, but you also have an option of selecting the microphone 1 or many of the other inputs coming into the Flow 8. I can't remember all of the settings right now, but in Zoom right now, I've just set it up so it's just listening to microphone 1. In fact, it doesn't matter if my fader is up or down here on the Flow 8. Zoom is listening to that microphone. That's why if you're joining, and I know you are, in the Zoom call, you won't hear any music because I'm not actually selecting that as a source in Zoom. So you're never going to hear back your own audio either because it's not coming in as part of the microphone 1. That way you can avoid sending audio back into Zoom again. How that works for multiple microphones, I haven't actually tried myself, so I'll have to give that a shot and see how it works. Gee, I wonder if he has a solution for that. Oh, I'm reading that totally out of context. Mix minus, I'm guessing. So maybe that was an answer to that. Question here, Pavel says, how do I deal with the green background in the program if I use H2R Graphics on the bottom bar with green elements and Chroma key in ATEM cuts out the green from the graphics? That's a good question, and one that I can show real quick. So an alternative method, instead of using green, is to use Luma keying in an ATEM. So this is going to be hard if your graphics have pure black in them, but if they have green in them, then maybe you can avoid putting pure black in them. So in that case, what you might want to do is jump into this H2R Graphics here, and I know my desktop is very busy right now. Do I have a cleaner place? No, this will be fine. In this fill window, I can open that up, and what that actually does is, oh no, that's not the one I want actually. Let me just do it manually. So I'll just copy this URL from the output 1, and I'll just open it up in my browser here so I can look at it. And if I set the background, I'm just typing this in right now to black, and I can show you how to do it in a minute. Don't let me down. Oh, I know why this is happening. 1 second. There we go. So now I have the H2R Graphics output as pure black, and if I show a graphic, we're just going to keep using this one as today's demo piece. So now I have a output that is pure black in the background, and it has my graphics on here, and there may be a little bit of black in the in like this apron here, but no, actually on my laptop I can see that it's not black, it's actually purple, so we're fine there. So what we can do is bring this into the ATEM via HDMI, and instead of using a Chroma key in the downstream keyer, we can use this Luma keying that's in the downstream keyer here. And with the settings just right, I will set the input as, let's just do camera 1. We'll have to pretend that H2R Graphics is connected to camera 1 there. We'll leave the mask empty, and then in the keying here, you can set the and the gain to be, I can't remember the numbers now. There's numbers here, and if you play with this and set it up yourself and play with it, you'll find that you just want to see just a tiny little bit, or remove, sorry, just a tiny little bit of color because it's pure black on one side and lighter on the other. And then the gain, you can play with that to get the desired effect. And that's a nice way to key out the graphics without using the Chroma key, and you get to use the downstream keyer as well, which is nice at the very end of your chain, and you can see the graphics on top of everything else. I've used that a lot more in the past than the Chroma keying solution as well. Eric here, using a black background which is keyed out, whereas Chroma using a color background instead. Exactly. That's a nice way to sum it up. Thank you for that. And Vic, that's what I was trying to avoid. Okay, good. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing the graphics. That's what I was trying to avoid. Yeah, sometimes getting more hardware is not a good way to do it. Although that Luma key example I just showed there, if you can avoid pure black in your graphics, then that's a good way to do it as well. Cool. All right, I do have a couple of things on my list here of things that I've added over the last few weeks to different pieces of tools and pieces of work that I've been doing. Let me see. Where should I begin? So GFX.live, I launched that here on the show, I guess 2 weeks ago now, or was it 1 week? No, it was 2 weeks ago. And since then I've gotten lots of nice feedback, thoughts, ideas, improvements, all of the stuff that I like to see. And one of the things I've added since then over on GFX.live is the ability to start from a template here. So I can, instead of I'm going to go to that directly. Instead of starting from the random template that I've decided, you can start from a template that I've pulled together here from a bunch of different graphic ideas. I don't have that many in there just yet. I'm coming up with more as we speak. But what you can do, for example, here is take a little preview of one. So this is one that I called Sports Broadcast, and you have a timer at the top side. You have some ticker news coming by, and then you have some team scores coming in. I'll just close that. That's just a little preview of what the graphic output would look like. But instead, you can do this start from template option here. And what that does is it takes what I just showed you, the preview that I just showed you, and makes your own copy of it. In fact, you can see here, it is a copy of that. And then from there, you can, of course, edit all the graphics as you wish, change the ticker content, show and hide everything, update the team scores, change the time of day timer to something that more suits your needs maybe, and go from there, which is quite nice. I have some other ones here, like this panel discussion of 4, 3, 2, and then a little conference schedule and solo streamer that I had made up. So for example, you just want to go live and you want to do this, you can use that. Or I quite like these panel ones here. I'll probably use these myself. Something that I've often had to do on this show, on this channel here, is create a little graphics package that looks like this, where I have myself and 4 guests. So instead of having to do that every time, I can use this as a template. And it's actually just an image in the background for the purposes of using something. But I should probably change this to be like little cutouts here, so you could actually put the pictures in there on a super source or something, and then you have all your graphics ready to go. And just like all the other graphics projects out there, I can of course run, show and hide everything as I want to. So I'm quite keen to hear if you have any templates that you use all the time for your shows, and you have some ideas of ways that I can grab some of those templates. If you have screen captures or anything you can send my way, that would be really helpful too, and I can implement those into GFX.live. More things to talk about. Since time actually went past there really fast, I know I have a couple more questions, so I'll grab those in a few seconds here. Pins. So I have subtly been wearing this little pin here on my shirt today, and I had one on the table, and it's something that I have been working on casually for a little while now, is these fun little pins. So it's made of wood. It's like a little wooden pin, and it obviously, if I can get it off this piece of card here, they come very sturdy. There we go. And attaches to like a backpack or clothing or something, and it's got this little sweet little design of a non-brand switcher that I invented. Obviously inspired by a few other ones out there, but it's a neat little piece, and it's so small here I can barely hold it still. But I have it here on my jacket, and my hopeful plan is that at some point I can do a store of some sort and sell and ship these out to people, whoever wants to buy them. I'm still kind of looking into the best path forward for that, because, you know, ordering stocking, and then shipping and handling and all that stuff of a tiny little item like this, even though it's so small, even just shipping it within the country will cost something, of course, and volume is a question and all that fun stuff. So something I'm considering. So if it's something that you're interested in, Discord's a good place, or here in the chat, tell me that you like it, thinking about, would love to have it. Eric saying, nearly forgot about the pins. You did. Thank you for not reminding me. And whoa, so cute from another camera channel. Nice. And yes, Aaron has always wanted a super small switcher. I guess John has now made one. Yeah, I posted this on Instagram, a picture of this, and somebody suggested that Aaron should make a little stand for it, a little teeny tiny stand. So we'll see. Free pins for members over a year. Yeah, good idea. I'll have a think about that one. Put me on the spot now for freebies. So if you're interested, definitely let me know in the chat, in the comments below, on Discord, on the Instagram post I made, and then I can put together a way of sending them out. I have some ideas. I've already designed a slightly bigger, more, I could say, more extreme version than this little pin, and some other ideas that I have that I want to come up with. Neil says, I'll buy one for sure. Thank you, Neil. I've got one order in. It's going well so far. So that's a fun little... yes, this is actually one on my list already, a little on-air button. I was sketching out some ideas for that the other day, but thank you. What would be really nice... oh, excuse me. What would be really nice is, since they're so small and light, but postage is considerable no matter how small and light things are, really. Bundling a few, so my idea would be like a 2 or 5 pack or something, and then I would also like to have some other ones like this size of switcher, a slightly bigger switcher, maybe a little audio panel, an on-air button, a little suite of pins, and then you could get like a little pin pack or something, and then postage would be kind of pulled together, and you would get lots of cool little pins for you or your teammates. I'd really like that. So that's one of the two things that I wanted to tease and sneak a peek at today, because it's not on sale or anything right now. I'll let you know as soon as it is. And the other thing I wanted to chat about just real quickly before we wrap things up for the day is a new project that I've kind of started to work on a little bit, and I'm not going to work on too much until I'm kind of sure that I have a good idea of how to do it and a good plan for the future of what this product might be. But I've started sketching out an idea for a rundown tool that would be fully cloud-based and would have all the sort of permissions that you could imagine within a tool like this. So you could be an editor of it, so you can change things. You can invite team members so they can just see what you're up to. So for example, here, if I just copy the link here, again, this is just a local development version and very built over the last few days as a tech preview. But the person on the right here would be like the show caller, and the person on the left is the show caller, and the person on the right is just watching along and following the show. And so you could say, like, as you call the show, as the show caller on the left, you'll say coming to item 7, and then whoever's watching along on the right hand side will obviously follow along and know what's coming up next and what item you're on for the rundown. A couple of the things I've been really trying to get right in here is, obviously timing is so important, so you want to set durations for everything. So for example, this block might be 1 hour long, and then what does that mean for all the other times, and how does that all work, and calculate, there's a lot of stuff to figure out there for sure. But it's fun. I really like this kind of stuff, solving these sort of bits and pieces and how they work together and all that. So it's an idea right now, and it's sort of not really a work in progress just yet. It's more of like an idea in progress that I'm thinking about and calculating on, and I will have updates on it, I'm sure. But the reason I want to bring it up today is, if you have some time, what I'm really looking to do is get some early thoughts on rundown tools that you use right now already in your productions. And what would be really helpful to me is if you go over to Discord. I know I've mentioned Discord a lot in the show today, but please do go over to Discord. And I have just created a new channel in there called Rundown. You'll find that if you go to the Here to Record updates, you'll see it right at the top on Discord. In fact, I'm sure I can jump over to that right now. Here. So if you go to the Here to Record section specifically in Discord, you'll see that I have a little rundown channel created for this discussion. And what I'm looking for is just to talk to you about the tool you use right now, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what features you always use, what features that you would love to see, and then I can collate as much information as I can about the tool that you are using or would like to use. This demo today is by no means like here's what it's going to look like. It's more just like I wanted to try out the real-time person-to-person connections and see how well that works, and if it's good enough, the technology that I'm thinking about using, if it's good enough to do exactly that. And so far, it's sort of is. Yes, Eric says the Rundown channel on Discord is very popular right now. You're absolutely right. I thought some people would say something, but a lot of people had immediate feelings on rundowns. And I know loads of people will use all sorts of tools. Google Sheets, from paper and pens to expensive tools to do exactly this thing. So there are options out there, and I don't want to recreate any of them specifically, but I would like to try to tick off as many main problems that people have and get them away from pen and paper and towards these kind of tools, because it's much more helpful, I think. Okay, we're going to quick fire through some questions here over the last few minutes of the show. IT never gets old. How did you do that zoom in on the software control running on your Mac? Oh, good question. That is a feature in macOS. If you hold down, wait, let me see which key. If you hold down Control on your keyboard and then scroll up on the trackpad, then you zoom in on the computer. And it's sort of like scrolling up and down, but you're holding Control at the same time, and you just zoom in to the computer. So not really a secret tool that I'm using, more of a feature of the OS. Although maybe they turned that off recently and you have to turn it back on again, but it is a feature in macOS. Pavel says, what causes the problem that is not always possible to put a website in the program, display it live? Typically some websites block you from embedding their website in software or in other programs. So in general, a lot of websites will allow you to do that, but some will not. So that would be the reason that you can't do it for certain websites. They will specifically have decided that this website cannot be embedded in other websites. And since something like H2R Graphics or Dashmaster, if you're using one of those, they are basically just websites trying to embed another website, and those websites say no, and that's why it doesn't work. There are some workarounds for it, but there's no like definite way to make sure every website works, unfortunately. Thank you so much for becoming a member here, Lindro. Good to have you. You can join us on the post show in the next few minutes by heading over to the community tab on YouTube, and you'll get a link to that in there. Ivor says, I know it's early, but do you have any expectations for NAB this year? It is early. The only expectation is I won't be there, unfortunately. I wanted to go this year, but it didn't really work out. So maybe next year. I'll keep saying that until I finally go. I always assume that Blackmagic's going to release something. Hoping, I'm not really in the market for anything right now myself, so I'm not really too hopeful for any particular products. If they go all 4K or something, that's fine. I don't think that's something I will look into. Maybe I can borrow one for a while from them, but I'm not so sure about that. What else could they? Maybe like a new something in the Mini lineup as well. But no, I don't think I have any major expectations just at this time. But I'll be interested to see what happens when we get closer. Like I said, if I'm not going to go, I'm more excited for what comes out of IBC whenever I may actually be there in September. Alrighty. Thank you so much for explaining Excellent, thank you. And Let's Celebrate TV says, you don't have to be in the market for anything. Let Aaron do it for you. Yes, I don't have to be in the market for anything. It's fun to grab some stuff and test it out and send it back, but I think I have enough stuff here that I'm not getting enough use out of all this stuff behind me at this point, so I should already, this is the way I'm doing it now. I'm talking myself out of it before it even gets released. It's for the best. Rob, hey, good to have you here, but you're too late. You're joining us too late, because now that's the end of the live show. Thanks so much for watching along. If you want to watch some more or chat some more, then do join us on the members only call. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you on the next live stream, which should be next Monday. Maybe I'll have more updates on the little pins that are, you know, right here, ready to be made and maybe sold. And maybe I'll have some more updates on the rundown tool that I'm speccing out, and we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, see you then. Thanks so much for watching along. Bye-bye. Oh, and thanks to all of the supreme supporters of the channel. That's Jeremy, Revolutionary Lightboards, Marlon, and Jim as well. And all of you for being here, and Doug who just popped in at the end there. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Bye.